בא למסיבה עכשיו. אין מה לגדש.
The border there, you can see, as you know.
We've been traveling here in the north during the vacation, and I heard in the news that Nasrallah threatened that he would do something against some yishuv, some town in the Galil, but we trust in the Israeli army, and we believe that we have to go about doing our life in the normal way and not give in to his threats.
האיומים של נסראללה באמת לא מרתיעים. אני חושב שהם לא רלוונטיים. הגבול נראה שקט, הכל נראה פה טוב.
The latest we're hearing is that Rouhani has ruled out any meeting between himself and Trump as long as sanctions remain in place. So I think that the positions are still a long way apart, but undoubtedly this is an interesting development in the sense that it shows, I guess one could say, the kind of flexibility, if we could put it in those terms, of Trump. I mean, the notion that this man is, a hardliner pushing for a war with Iran was common currency in discussion a couple of months ago. And today I think we're seeing a very different reality, which is that Trump is volatile, easily changeable, likes the idea of successful negotiations, doesn't like the idea of armed conflict, and therefore is open potentially to all kinds of possible windows of opportunity.
The credits when you see them talking. Right. I just say I think you're looking ravishingly attractive.
I think it's very worrying actually from an Israeli point of view. I would think, and I think what we're hearing also in Hebrew language media, is that the Israeli political and security establishment is deeply concerned by this, because after all, in light of the events of recent days, when Israeli-Iranian tensions are perhaps at the highest that they've been, certainly for the last couple of years, with the possibility of the real possibility of kinetic action between the sides on the agenda. At that moment, for Israel to get the sense that the United States is not necessarily in any way on board for any of that, and in fact is looking for diplomatic windows of opportunity with Iran, I would suggest, I would think is worrying indeed for Israel.
Your message, I had vomit, baby vomit all over me.
There's a sense in which undoubtedly, yes, the sphere of activity has now broadened from Syria itself, eastwards into Iraq, westwards into Lebanon. It's very hard for me to see that narrowing once again. I think that field of operations will continue at a similar tempo. Now, how things could intensify is, of course, that Hezbollah, Lebanese Hezbollah that is, which lost, after all, at least 2 operatives in the recent bombing in Syria, in southwestern Syria, is looking for revenge. Very possibly Iran and its militias are looking for revenge also for the events in Iraq. Now, up until now, their attempts at revenge have been unsuccessful. Should such an attempt be successful and result in a considerable loss of Israeli life, whether military or civilian, then you might see an intensification of Israel's subsequent response. And then there's a real possibility, I would say, as we've seen in the past in this arena, of an escalation towards a much broader conflict.